Wow. Disney, you see what happens when you actually try? Do you see what happens when you actually put effort into something for once? What's up, what's happening, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station and Cynical Saiyan 77. This is a double cross review because I initially wanted to do this on just Cynical Saiyan 77 because I had a feeling that this was going to be a terrible dumpster fire, just like Peter Pan and Wendy was. And I reviewed it just on that channel for a very specific reason, because I had a lot of F-bombs to throw at it. But this one, I was also expecting to do that because I hate these live-action remakes. I think they're pointless, I think they're a waste of time and money and resources, and just lazy. Just lazy rehashes of what's already been done. Well, I just finished watching it, and I'll be damned, they actually made a good one for once. Right up there with Aladdin 2019, I believe it was also Cinderella 2011, I think? Somewhere in the early 2010s, that one. That Cinderella movie was also pretty good, too. And I came out this one pretty satisfied. No, it's not as good as the original. Not even close. But this movie does have a lot going for it, and I'm just gonna say it right now, I do think you should go out and see it. However, I do have some things I need to complain about. So, let's get the complaints out of the way first, and then I'll talk about all the positives. My first and biggest complaint right off the bat is the CGI. It is bottom barrel lazy garbage. I hate the CGI in this movie with the realistic designs. No. It looks horrible. I mean, when it's sort of cartoony like it is on the actual Mermaid characters, that's fine. On Ursula, it's fine. On Ariel, it's fine. On King Triton, it's fine. On all the daughters, it's fine. But all the fish and other sea life are all realistic. And it looks terrible. Especially Sebastian in particular, because I want to give him his whole own negative section on this, because Sebastian in this is a far cry from what he was in the original movie. In this one, he is annoying. He cannot freaking sing. And almost every single time he was on screen, I just wanted to scream at him to shut the flippin' flip up. They ruined Sebastian in this movie. He is awful. Oh, but not as bad as the seagull. You remember that seagull in the original? Yeah, well she is voiced by Aquafina. And she's the worst part of the whole movie. She's in it prominently. She is annoying. She's not funny. And once again, cannot sing. That whole Kiss the Girl song that happens in the movie. Yeah, she tries to be funny by adding in this off-key little thing to one of the verses. And it just made me want to rip my eardrums out. It was bad. It wasn't funny, it was bad. So whenever the animal characters were on screen, I just wanted to skip or mute. They were annoying. They were so annoying. And then their designs didn't help either. But the one exception I will give to that is Jacob Tremblay as Flounder. He was not bad. Him I could tolerate, because Tremblay does a good voice, and even though the design is awful, I can still give it a pass because he still at least sounds okay. He's not actively annoying, and when he is in the movie, I didn't mind him. But Sebastian and the Seagull, I freaking hated. No, that was bad. And yeah, I'm gonna get this out of the way. While the music overall is pretty solid, most of the best songs from the original movie are butchered in this reimagining. Not Part of Your World. Part of Your World is just as great as the original. Well, on the same level, I would say, because Halle Berry is a great singer with a beautiful voice and so much vocal control. It's crazy. She's really talented. It's Melissa McCarthy with Poor Unfortunate Souls. Yeah, no, she can't sing either. And then you have Sebastian's Redux of Under the Sea, which is awful. Because with the voice that they use for Sebastian, it doesn't work. And it just comes off as cringy than actually, unique and charming. And Kiss the Girl is okay, but stick with the original. What other complaints do I have about this movie? The final battle, without giving spoilers, is a big fat pile of meh. Like, not only does... Okay, this isn't a spoiler because this happens in the original too. Ursula becomes, a big, gigantic monster. Just like the original. Problem is, the CGI is awful, and they obscure her face behind a bunch of rain. And when you actually see the face for a split second when the lightning is striking, yeah, it looks bad. Like, really bad. And then the way that they also flipped around, the whole thing that happens with the ship in that scene, yeah, no, I didn't like that either. I also feel like the ending of this movie was very rushed. Like, almost the entire final act of the movie takes place in the final 15 minutes. Yeah, it's rushed beyond belief. But the ending itself is sweet, so I'll give it a little bit of leeway, but yeah, don't expect anything amazing out of the final battle, because the final battle kind of sucks. Just gonna say that right now. Okay, that's all my negatives. Let's move on to the positives. The biggest one, and the one that everyone's been praising since this movie first started getting early screenings, Halle Berry as Ariel. She is actually really friggin' good in this role. Like, I bought her as the character. It didn't sound like she was reading off a script. And she did an amazing job capturing, Ariel's distinct personality of being, curious and outgoing. The things we know Ariel for best. And she does it really well in this movie. And like I said before, beautiful singing voice. Like, no, it's not on the level of the one that voiced Ariel in the original movie, but it's still really good, really pretty, and the songs that she reduxes specifically are pretty good. Like, Part of Your World is great, especially in that part when she's sitting on the rock and she does that final note. Like, that is a showing of vocals. And then the other songs she does, like when she doesn't have her voice and we hear the thoughts going through her head through song, like, those songs are pretty good too, and some of them had me laughing. So, what else? Javier Bardem as King Triton. He was okay. I wouldn't say he was great, but he was okay. And for those of you that think, well, that guy's name sounds familiar, yeah, this is Captain Salazar from Dead Men Tell No Tales. Same actor. Not the first time he's been in a water-related movie. And the water itself is cool. I think the underwater world they designed, while not as bright and colorful as the original, still somewhat works. I also feel like with some of the mermaid designs for the daughters and Ariel's sisters, they got really creative with it. And I give them points for creativity. I also found the romance in here to be very believable. And I really like Eric's new song. I believe it's new anyway, I haven't watched the original in years. Where he's, going down to the shore and he's singing this song about trying to find the girl that saved his life. Like, it's really sweet. I do like that part of the movie. And I do really like the relationship that builds between them. And I especially really enjoy how Halle Berry nails Ariel's sign language when she loses her voice to Ursula. Like, it's really well done, and you can do through just body language and a little bit of extra song to try and explain her thoughts. You can understand what she's feeling, you can understand what she's thinking, and you also can kind of get a charming sense off of her from her, her upbeat, positive curiosity. Like, it's really interesting and really well done in this movie, I gotta say. I thought the Prince was also pretty good, and most of the performances here are mostly solid. Like, aside from Sebastian's and Aquafina's, I didn't hate anyone else in this movie. Like, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. When I first heard that casting, I was rolling my eyes like, oh god, this is gonna blow. But I'll be surprised. She actually did an okay job. Like I said, she can't sing at all, but she did a decent job as Ursula. She was okay. But no Pat Carroll. Pat Carroll, forever rest in peace. That's the definitive Ursula, and you always will be the definitive Ursula. And I wasn't really bored with the movie either. Like, with the Peter Pan and Wendy movie, I was bored out of my skull for half the time. But here, I was at least intrigued and entertained. That's more than I can say for most of these crappy remakes. But yeah, it's not a great movie by any means, but I'm actually pretty satisfied with how this one turned out. It's not amazing, it's no best of the year contender or anything like that, but you know what? I want it to succeed. I think it did a good job, and I think this should get the message out to Disney to make more remakes like this, and less like the horrible crap they've been making for the past 5-6 years. So, yeah, Little Mermaid is a lot better than I was expecting, but it's nowhere near the original. And I don't think it was supposed to be. I feel like it's just trying to be its own unique thing while also being respectful to the original, aside from butchering the songs. That part I will not forgive. Like, butchering the songs and butchering Sebastian, that I will not forgive. But the rest of the movie is entertaining. It can be funny at times. Like, I kept laughing every time Ariel tried to stand up, trying to get used to her legs. It was so funny. Especially the scene on the boat when she starts to stand up and then just... Like, that's really funny. They got some nice physical comedy there. And the relationship's believable. The writing's pretty good. Most of the performances are solid. It's just an all-around solid movie. Like, if you like The Little Mermaid, I think you'll have a good time with it. But don't take it too seriously. It is a remake, but at the same time, it also feels like it's its own unique retelling. So don't take it too seriously, and no, don't be a racist a-hole in my comment section, okay? I will not stand for that. And like I said, if we can get more Disney remakes like this, I won't actually mind more of these. As long as they're more of this quality and not frickin' Pinocchio or Dumbo or Mulan or the god-awful Peter Pan and Wendy. Don't worry, I already saved a nice toasty spot on my worst list for that disaster, but this is probably the only time I'm going to talk about it because I gave out so many 8s already, and not to mention, we're not even halfway through the year yet, so... Yeah, overall, pretty satisfying little remake. Like, I don't think it's awful, I don't think it's great, it's just solid. It's all around solid, and it's unnecessary, but it's pretty entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. And definitely, Halle Berry's performance as Ariel is without a doubt the highlight of the movie. So, yeah. If you can get past some of the songs being butchered, Sebastian being horrendous, Aquafina being annoying, and the crap CGI, you are actually in for a pretty good time with this one. I came out pretty satisfied, and while it's far from flawless, I had a pretty good time, and I do think that if you're a fan of Little Mermaid, check this one out. Don't let the whole race swap BS keep you from seeing it, okay? It's not as amazing as the original, absolutely not, but as its own thing, it's pretty friggin' good. Final verdict for this movie is going to be a 7.5 out of 10, and for those of you that are curious, check it out. It might end up being your thing after all. But if you're one of those people that's just not a fan of Little Mermaid to begin with, even with the original, this one's not really going to sway you, but I still think it's worth watching for all the interesting, unique, new stuff it adds. So, yeah. That's about all I've got. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for Spider-Man No Way Home. And if you're watching this on Cynical Saiyan 77, see you tomorrow for Avenged Sevenfold's Nightmare.